All right, here's our third example, third video from section 11.5. This is the section, probably the hardest section of this chapter, where we're combining probability with our combinations, permutations, and counting principle. And I know that there's only 3 examples here, so you may need to watch some more videos that are provided in my math lab. You might need to go back and re-listen to my videos again and do the examples one more time. You definitely have to make sure that you practice by doing your homework and doing similar examples, not till you get the green check mark only, but until you fully understand what's going on. Like I said, this is probably going to be the hardest section, so it's really important that you're practicing it a lot to make sure that you fully understand, okay? All right, here's our last example. It says here a club consists of 5 men and 7 women. 3 members are selected at random to attend a conference. Find the probability that the selected group consists of A, 3 men, and then a separate problem, B, that the group consists of 1 man and 2 women. So we're going to do 2 different problems with the same kind of scenario. So the first thing I see is that keyword probability. So I know that probability means what I want out of total. So again, that's how I'm going to organize myself. It's what I want out of the total. All right, so for this first one, I want to find the probability that the selected group will be 3 men. So now we have to consider, does order matter? Well, I have a bunch of people and I want to select, 3 of them to go to a conference. Now when I select them to go to a conference, does it matter the order that I select them in? Does it matter the order that they sit in the bus? Does it matter the order that they get in the airplane? Does it matter the order that they sit at the conference, or is it still the same 3 people? So to me, this is an example of a combination because order doesn't matter. You're picking 3 people to go on a conference. It doesn't matter how you pick them. It's still the same 3 people. So when we're doing this first example, part A, we got to first think about total. So ignoring the specifics, men, women, anything like that, let's just talk about total number of outcomes first. So how many people do I have total? Well, I have 5 men, 7 women, that's a total of 12 people, and I want to pick 3 of them to go to a conference. We said order doesn't matter, so that should be a combination, and we can set up our combination formula with our 12 choose 3. So ignoring specifics, there are a total of 220 ways I can pick 3 people if I have a group of 12. Now, we have to talk about specifics of what I want. I want 3 men. Now, because this is in different categories, men versus women, I've got to consider those 3, or not 3 categories, but the 2 different categories. So, order still doesn't matter. Let's talk about the men. So I know that I have how many men total? I have 5, right? And what I want in this particular part is I want all 3 of them to be men. And so it's still a combination. I have 5 men and I want to choose 3 of them. Now let's think about the women. How many women do I have? I have 7. And how many women do I want to choose? Well, I don't want to choose any women. I want all 3 of the people that I choose to be men. So I could technically set up a combination formula with 7 choose 0. When you punch it in your calculator, you should get 10 and 1. So really, just a total of 10, right? This part doesn't affect my total answer. I still get 10 because 10 times 1 is still just 10, right? So there are 10 ways I can pick 3 men out of a total of 220 ways. So my probability would be 10 out of 220 or 1 out of 22. If they ask me for a decimal, I can divide it and say 0.05. Or if they ask me for a percent, I can say 5%. There's a 5% probability that I'll pick all 3 men out of the group of 12 people to go on this conference. What you want out of total. All right, let's do another one. Example number 3B says, with the same group of 12 people, you want to pick 3 of them, but what's the probability that 1 of them will be a man and 2 of them will be women? Try this one by yourself. See if you can pause the video. See if you can set up your want and your total, and see if you get the same number as I do. All right, I always start with the total. So again, ignoring specifics, how many total people do I have and how many total people do I want to pick, and does order matter? Well, in this case, still, order doesn't matter. I'm picking people to go on a conference, so it doesn't matter how they go or how I choose them. I still have a total of 12, and I want to pick a total of 3. So my total doesn't change from either part A or part B. We still have a total of 220 ways to pick 3 people from a group of 12. But let's talk about the want in this particular one. Remember, we have 2 different categories, the men category and the women category. I have 5 men, and how many do I want to choose? 1. I have 7 women, and how many do I want to choose this time? 2. And so in my calculator, I get 5 and I get 21, and I want to choose men and women, right? That's like pants and shirts. And as soon as I hear that word and, I know that I need to multiply to get a total number of options. So I ended up getting the probability of 105 out of 220. 105 ways to pick 1 man, 2 women out of 220 total ways. If I reduce that, I got 21 out of 44. And I don't know if you guys know how to reduce in your calculator, but a lot of your calculators should have a way to reduce. A lot of times there's a button that has a D, and then it has some arrows, and then it says F, so it'll go from decimal to fraction, and that'll reduce your fraction for you so you don't actually have to reduce it by yourself. If you need help with that, let me know, and we will look at your specific calculator so that we can go from this original fraction to the reduced form without you having to divide all the way down. Okay, so let me know if you need help with that. But you should get 21 out of 44, or 0.48, or we could say 48%. There's a 48% chance that you will pick 1 man and 2 women if you have a group of these 12 people to go to the conference. Okay? Being very organized, being very clear, showing me all of your different setups so I know exactly where your numbers are coming from, so I can give you full credit for the correct answer, and I can give you partial credit if you make a mistake somewhere, but I need to be able to see all of your work for each little part there. Okay? Please, please, please make sure that you practice. I know this section is difficult, and the only way that it's going to get easier is doing more and more and more and more problems. Practicing, practicing, practicing. So do your homework. Do it as many times as you need to. Remember, there's a practice worksheet on Canvas underneath the modules for 11.5. There's actually 2 of them. You'll do the first one right now, and then maybe save the last one until right before your test so you can refresh on this section since it's probably the hardest section. But do the practice worksheet. I have an answer key available to you, but don't just copy it. Make sure that you try it first on your own before actually checking your answers with mine. That's the only way you're going to make sure that you understand, okay? All right, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you need help with your calculator, but keep working hard, okay?